I just wanted to hit record because I saw a video on YouTube and this guy was saying that it was so over. He had a very nihilistic worldview, and I'm not saying that's negative. What I will say is that I see where he's coming from, but I don't think it's over. So to just summarize what the talking points that he went over are pretty much, he was saying that the things that motivate men typically are financial gain, social status, and women. But not as possessions, right? Because what follows your career is success and feeling self-fulfillment out of what you've achieved. The financial fulfillment is you having your freedom and being able to do and exercise your creativity outside of a workplace. And then there's women. And women give you the motivation because a lot of guys do dream of having a family one day and raising kids. This is just something that we all share. And if you don't, that's completely fine. But I do think that a lot of dudes who sit down and think about what they actually want end up coming to that same conclusion. Because all those things are shared, we just get it. We get it faster. We have a different way of operating. And the reason I say we have a different way of operating is because I'm going to touch on women in a second. Before you guys think I'm going to say anything negative, I'm not going to. Because what I'm really talking about is how times have changed. How people connect. I think how people connect has really changed ever since social media took root. I'm a guy that's 30 years old. I was a kid before there was, right when the internet actually was being made. And cell phones slowly became a thing, and I saw them evolve from being a little piece of crud like a Nokia phone to these smartphones we have, which is basically a computer we could just take everywhere with us. That's just a preface for what I'm going to elaborate on. So a lot of guys feel like they can't connect with anybody anymore because I don't think anyone has any real hobbies or interests. We live in a type of economy and society. We live in a society that rewards very performative behavior. And part of the way that manifests is when you speak to somebody in public or you meet someone for the first time, more often than not, you're going to be speaking to somebody who has an idea of you. They're not interested, or they're not conscious that they're not really talking to you. More intelligent people see that as disrespectful, and I understand why they do that because I used to be one of them before I gave it some more thought. And what you have to realize is you don't have to connect with everybody that you come across. What you can do is extract whatever they know, learn from it, and keep moving. Because the actual company that you need to have around you or want should be people that do the same things as you. The hobbies and traditions that we have are all their own language. So when we live in a multicultural society, and I know some of you have a problem with that word, right? When we live in a diverse society that has a lot of people from different backgrounds, the only real thing that can cause any sort of cultural cohesion is going to be the sense of nationality. And I don't think there's a lot of that anymore. Or you all do the same thing as far as a practice. So I tend to get along with a lot of people who work in production. Now, I also am aware that there aren't many of us, as opposed to, a lot of other professions. Not a lot of people stick around in this one because there's a lot of grit and self-determination that you have to have when you join. Gosh, I make it sound like a cult. You have to teach yourself a lot, and it's very tedious, tumultuous. And when you get on the other side of the mountain, you know so much and you have so much you want to share with the world, and just the normal person doesn't understand half of what you understand. I think even the most baseline creative that understands how a camera operates is amazing as a person because it's so hard to cram all that information into your head, especially when you don't have the pressure of college. You're teaching yourself this. And that type of personality just comes out over and over again. And that's the type of people that I resonate with. Now, I looked at my analytics for my channel, and most of the people that do this are men. I also looked at the majority of the people in the profession of videography. Photography is a bit independent. It's a bit split there. But with videography and the practice and the science and the math that goes into it, the majority men do this. So I think my ideal audience, now that I think about it, is guys. Now, there's no specific age range because anybody can step into this whenever they want. And there's two different individual classes of people that do this. There's professionals and there's hobbyists. Neither is more important or better than the other, but they do have two interesting perspectives and ways of seeing things. And even with those two ways of seeing it, people lose how to communicate with each other in the middle, because people that step over into the professional game, they tend to talk a different language. It's all technical. It's very tactful. It's very analytical. And then people that are just new are a little bit less sophisticated, but there's a lot of, I would say, raw creativity that's there, but that because you have the new person goggles on. And what I was trying to do is trying to bring those two groups of people together, because I might not have the most sophisticated way of explaining things, but I'm also not entirely green. I kind of bring the two together. I had instinct when I first started to do this, and I also have the analytical left brain side of it, essentially. So how does this kind of mesh back into what that guy was saying? Okay, he's in despair, or somebody that sees it different, a bit more negative than me, might be in despair because they don't feel like they can connect with anybody. And that's one of the ways we interface with life and find meaning. And while there not be much of it anymore, you might not have a family you can talk to. There's a lot of broken families now. You might not have outer family you can talk to. You might not be familiar with them or know who they are, or they might not know you exist. Maybe you're a person that was in the foster care system. You can find people that are just like you that do exactly what you do. Now, there are people that are scum of the earth that do what we do. But if you really think about it, they don't do what we do. They're tourists. They pick something up and they try and reap the benefits of being a part of a group without actually ever interfacing with anybody that's a part of it in a raw, organic way. For example, people that make money off of videography that don't exactly love doing it. They're so fixated on making money that they might as well be a scam artist, or they're just their personality that doesn't truly care about anybody's brand or well-being. And I can honestly say I'm not friends with anybody like that. Yes, I've met people like that, but that's besides the point. So how do you meet people like this? You just act patient. You be yourself and you just say who you are. And their ears will perk up if they're just like you and have a conversation about it. You're just going to have to understand that if there's not many, then it's few and far between. And if it's few and far between, you're going to have to be patient, and you can't sit there and be like, why am I not connecting to everybody on a deeper level that I come across? Because no one's going to see things like you. In fact, if you are exceptional, you have to understand that you are only going to get along with exceptional people. And I don't mean just get along, I mean completely resonate with. Because the word exceptional wouldn't exist if average didn't exist, okay? I'm going to say that again. The word exceptional wouldn't exist if average didn't exist. If average is prevalent, exceptional is going to be rare. If you're rare, you're going to want to talk to rare people with rare interests. And they're going to pour back into you. But they're probably going to pour back into you way harder. That's more worth it, isn't it? Having a stimulating conversation, or just having someone understand you after a huge dry spell is refreshing. Because if you're an average person, everyone's pouring into you and they're only pouring a little bit, and there's not much sustenance to be gained from it or to exchange, then you'd be unaware that your life is very uninteresting. So circling back to what motivates men real quick. So what you're truly interested in might not line up with what can make you money right now. keyword right now. I'm going to say that again. What you're interested in financially in doing that you're passionate about might not serve you right now. You might not be built to do it right now. One day you'll get the opportunity and you might have to bite the bullet and do something else just to get by. Surviving is the thing, right? You might not feel fulfilled doing that, but if you build yourself up in the shadows, in the background, like me, I'm not living the luxurious lifestyle that everybody projects on Instagram. That is a farce, for instance. And then that financial freedom that you don't have might make you feel that you're inadequate and you're not able to exercise your freedom or do what you'd like to. And you see all these people doing what they'd like to, but you have to take a step back and wonder, like, what sacrifices did this person have to make in order to do that? And was it worth it? Are you going to do things the right way, or are you going to try and take a shortcut and reap the consequences later? And then the last thing that guys want to have is a family. And part of having a family is having a girl that's interested in you. A lot of us want an other half, another you, another person to experience everything with. The beauty of life is understanding that you forever for you, or the idea of spending eternity or forever with somebody, is experiencing many things with them. The experiences you have together don't need to just be romantic. We reflect on things and romanticize things that don't even have to do with intimacy. Okay. And you can long and want this companionship. And I'm gonna be real with you, man. From what I've gathered, that is fairly unlikely, and that shouldn't discourage you. Just because girls don't communicate the way we do and they don't have the same interests doesn't mean that you're less of a person. The psyop that happened, because I was part of the late wave millennials back in the day, is they promoted promiscuity and everybody drank the Kool-Aid. So a lot of guys now think that they're going to interlink the idea that being promiscuous and having a lot of, for lack of a better word, intimate success with females is self-fulfilling, and vice versa. Girls think having a lot of sexual or intimate relationships with men is self-fulfilling. It really isn't, which leads me back to my other point. I said that if you're an exceptional person, you're only going to get along with exceptional people, and those exceptional people are few and far between. So if you're talking to everybody and everybody thinks you're him or you're her, right? Are you really an exceptional person? Are you really that interesting? Do you really have it going on like that? Because I don't think everyone would adore you that way if you were different in an intellectual way. If you thought different, if you did something differently. People can appreciate what you do, but they're not all going to love who you are. You have to separate the art from the artist, essentially. Now, on this side, men only really like to complain about girls because we're not reaping the negative consequences of what men do, because obviously we're not, well, for lack of a better way of saying this, we're not talking romantically to guys. So of course we're not going to like be aware of everything negatively that's happening, right? So girls, when we criticize what they're doing, are going to very quickly jump to conclusions and assume that we're just speaking out of spite and hate. No, we're just observing what is available right now, and we can't make any good, just decisions on a long term because there's nobody that wants to have open conversation. So what we do is we go to the internet, we have these conversations with other people that might think like us. And the way I think this aligns with my brand and what I do is I've reached out to other guys indirectly or directly by offering tutorials, talking about my mindset. People have reached out to me personally saying, hey dude, like what you said with the other day really stuck with me and it helped me in my career. And I find that act self-fulfilling. That's what made me lead to this conclusion I'm about to share with you right now. So no, it's not over. The world had just shifted and real connection didn't disappear. It moved into the hands of people who make things instead of performing for strangers. And if you're listening to this, you're probably one of those people. So you should build something and stick with it, and the world will get a lot bigger for you than you probably think it will. And with that being said, guys, you know me, I like having notes. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't stick to any of them, but I did have one last piece I wanted to share with y'all, okay? I actually have two things. If the world feels fake to you, stop chasing the world. You should build your own. People who speak your language will find you. They always will. And when they show up, you realize nothing was really over. You were just outgrowing the places you were trying to fit into. Coming from my religious standpoint on things, because I don't like pushing it on people, I do have a funny piece of insight to throw. Sometimes when you start walking the path towards God, the devil will try to throw stumbling blocks in your way. And sometimes those stumbling blocks are disguised as distractions. Some of those distractions lead you into a comfy box. That comfy box is not meant to coddle you. It's meant to keep you in place. It's meant to keep you from moving towards your end destination, what you were meant to do. And the devil will make that box as comfortable as possible. And you'll spend so long in there until one day the time runs out and the cell door slams shut. And that box doesn't become your comfort. It becomes a prison. Things got so comfortable that you never felt a reason to leave. So if you are struggling, the way of resistance is the way, or the problems that you're facing are the way itself. And I have a Bible verse for you guys today. James chapter 1 verse 12. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life. Take of that what you will. I will see you guys later, and I'm very excited to provide whatever value that I come across. Cheers, everybody.